everyone, and I'm Alexis, aka the Sloth Reader, and I'm here today to film my December book haul. So I got a lot of books in December, so I'm going to try to keep a very short intro. I probably won't go into too many details about these books just because there's quite a lot of them and I have a lot of thanks to give, so let's just start out. So first I'm going to start with my book of the month picks for December. I actually ended up getting 3 of the December picks because they all sounded really interesting and I couldn't choose a favorite. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you probably haven't heard about it, but I'm fostering some kittens right now and they're absolutely adorable. They're the cutest little things, but they've never seen a filming setup before, so I don't think they know what to do. Please don't knock over my books. So there was actually 3 book of the month picks this month I really liked, so I went ahead and got all 3 of them. The first one is Severance by Ling Ma. This is like a satirical dystopian book basically about like a future where our lives are completely ruled by technology. It's satirical in that it's just like a giant commentary about like technology in the modern age and how it rules our lives and everything like that. And I wanted to pick this up for 2 reasons. The first being that I love anything that even sounds remotely like a dystopian because I love dystopians. And second, I'm usually not very good with satire. Satire is not my thing. But I wanted to task myself to read things out of my comfort zone this year, so this one felt like a really good pick that I could potentially really enjoy. So I picked this up and I'm actually pretty excited to read it. The next book of the month book I got in December was No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is a thriller that's basically follows one of my favorite like thriller horror tropes. And so it's basically about a group of people who are like all stuck at a rest stop. They're snowed in at a rest stop and one of them is a serial kidnapper. The main character like discovers like a victim and it's basically like a whodunit mystery, but the whole like people trapped together trying to figure out like who's the killer. That's like my favorite like horror mystery thriller trope. So this book obviously is based on that premise, so I definitely wanted to read it. I've had a very rough history with thrillers I've gotten from Book of the Month, but I'm really hoping I'll enjoy this one. The final Book of the Month pick I got was The Far Field by Madhuri Vijay, and this sounds really interesting. It's basically literary fiction and it follows a young woman named Shalini who basically travels from southern India to Kashmir to find out the mystery of like her childhood and the disappearance of this man from her childhood and the death of her mother, and she's basically trying to piece all of this together. But in traveling to Kashmir and trying to solve this mystery, she basically also gets caught up in the political landscape in Kashmir and what's going on with the people and the country at the time. And it sounds really fascinating, especially because I'm really intrigued by you know, literature that takes place in that part of the world, that kind of southwestern Asian area is very fascinating to me, and I've never really read a book that takes place like in Kashmir, and I'm very intrigued to read this, and I hope I really like it. I have a very good track record with literary fiction from Book of the Month, so hopefully this will be another one that I love. The next book I got in a subscription box is Amber and Dusk by Lyra Saline. I got this in the December Owl Crate. I don't really know anything about this one other than what the synopsis says, and none of my friends on Goodreads have read this book, which is very intriguing because I have a lot of friends on Goodreads and they've all read a lot of things. So the fact that none of them have read this is intriguing. So if any of my friends who haven't read this but got this in their Owl Crate box would like to buddy read this, let me know because I would really like to do that. But if you're interested to see this unboxing, I will link it down below. The next book I got in December, no surprise, it's on everybody's December TBR. That is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, which, oh my god, this book is just massive. Especially like I need 2 hands to hold it. Like my hands like barely don't even fit around this thing. This is crazy. This is the 3rd and final book in the Dark Artifices. This is the Barnes & Noble's edition. So because it's first print, it does have the full-size illustrations in here. It also has the dust jacket art that has the entire gang on it that I absolutely love. But yes, final book in the Dark Artifices. I'm trash for this series. I can't believe I haven't read Queen of Air and Darkness yet, but I'm very excited to get to it when I eventually do. But Yes, I also, of course, bought this in December. And the last book I bought myself in December is actually one I've already read, so you'll hear about it in my January wrap-up, but that is The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. And I've actually wanted to read this book for a very long time, because I had a bunch of friends who read arcs of this book, and it was intriguing to hear their thoughts about the arc, especially given how much the arc changed to the original copy. So I've wanted to read this since a bunch of my friends got arcs of this. And this actually ended up being the first book club pick for the book club started by two of my very good friends, Melanie Meltthany and Amy at A Court of, I always say it wrong, A Court of Crown and Quills. It's very difficult for me to say for some reason. But I'll leave both of their blogs linked down below so that you can see more information about the book club. But this was the first pick for the book club, so that's why I got this one. So all of the rest of the books I'm going to mention were actually all gifts to me from friends in the community or friends in real life. I'm so thankful that I'm blessed with so many beautiful friendships in this community, so many people that I absolutely adore. So the first thing is actually a gift given to me by my in real life friend Erica, and she specifically got this book for me, and that is The Whiz Mob and the Grenadine Kid by Colin Meloy with art by Carson Ellis. I don't know how many times I can say this. Colin Meloy is the lead singer of my favorite band. This is his most recent middle grade book to come out. This is about our main character, Charlie Fisher, who basically witnesses this robbery one day, and it's done by this like group of people who are like completely unseen, and he's like, how does nobody notice them committing this crime? And then he basically gets sucked into this like secret society thing, and it sounds like a lot of fun. I'm definitely intrigued to give it a try, and of course I love Colin Meloy, and my friend got this because she knows that. The next two books were actually a gift to me from Julie from Pages and Pens, whose channel I will link down below because she's just an absolute human being. The first book she got me is A Heart in the Body in the World by Deb Coletti. This is basically a heart-wrenching novel about our main character, Annabelle, who is basically running cross-country. And basically it's about her running cross-country to escape something that's happened to her, and it's a mystery. You know, we don't know going into the novel. Something has happened to her, and she's basically running away from this thing that happened and running to kind of collect herself after this event and figure out, you know, her feelings. And basically like the entire country kind of rallies behind her and follows her journey through the media. And so it's about like her going on this incredibly personal journey, but in the center of the entire country basically. And I've just heard from everybody who read it that this book is absolutely like gut-wrenching. Every person I know like absolutely cried about it. I think Julie's note in that she gave me for this was like, be prepared to cry. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. I really love hard-hitting contemporaries. It's my favorite kind of contemporary, and this just sounds like so up my alley. Julie also bought me another contemporary that I've been wanting to read for a very long time, and that is Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. I have a few of Emma Mills' books, and I haven't gotten to read any of them, but this one just sounds like so much fun, especially because I know it does have like a theater presence in the book, and like as a former theater kid, like I love it when theater's in books. It makes me so happy, and I've just heard from so many people that Emma Mills' books are just really fun contemporaries, and I know that there's like a queer female main character in this, and I'm so excited to read this book and to get into Emma Mills and read a bunch of her books. The next four books are actually all from my very best friend in the entire planet, my best friend Suzanne. She did not have to buy me 4 books off of my Amazon wishlist, but she did because I love her and she loves me, and we're just the best of friends, and so the next 4 are all from her. The first one she got me is The Book of the Unnamed Midwife by Meg Ellison. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I absolutely love dystopians. I love post-apocalyptic stories, and this one is like a feminist post-apocalyptic story about an unnamed midwife and all of the like horrifying things that become of humanity after like an apocalyptic event. And this just sounds completely up my alley. I've been wanting to read this for a very long time, so I'm just very excited to finally have it. The next one I'm going to mention is Air Awakens, Book 1 by Elise Kova. This is another one that has been on my TBR for a very long time. This is an independently published story about a world of elemental magic, and it's about our main character who basically has to choose between pursuing her love of magic and leaving behind the life she knows, or basically like deciding to stay stagnant in her life. And there's just elemental magic in this, and I love the cover art, and I've wanted to read this for a very long time because I feel like this was actually pretty popular for an independently published series back when it was coming out, and I've just wanted to read it ever since. The next book Suzanne got me was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I have been so hesitant to pick this book up because I've never really been sure that I was ever gonna like it. And I think Suzanne knew that, and she was like, I'll buy it for Alexis so she can stop dragging her feet about it. So I finally have Strange the Dreamer. So many of my friends absolutely love this series, absolutely love Laini Taylor, and I really want to get on that bandwagon. So now that this duology is complete, I definitely think now is the perfect time for me to go ahead and give it a shot. But like, if you haven't heard about Strange the Dreamer, I don't know what rock you've been living under, because this book is very precious on BookTube. The next one Suzanne got me is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is an Own Voices Asian-inspired fantasy that follows like a kitsune who's like hiding a magic scroll, and the assassin sent to like kill her to get the scroll. This just sounds so fun. All of my friends who've read arcs of this really ended up enjoying this, and it just sounds so much fun. I've read Julie Kagawa's books in the past and really loved them, so I was so excited to hear that she was coming out with a new Asian-inspired fantasy series because it just sounded like absolute fun. Look at them, aren't they cute? Hello. And you guys know I love that Allies of Circumstance trope, so I'm very excited about this. The next book I'm going to mention comes from my very dear friend Jane at It's Jane Lindsay, and that is Georgia Peaches and Other Forbidden Fruit by J. Robin Brown. Another book that has been on my TBR for the longest time. This basically follows our main character, Jo, whose family recently moves to a small town in Georgia, and she basically has to go back into the closet at the behest of her pastor father, because they're in a new town. It's very small, it's very, I'm assuming, conservative, and so she basically goes back into the closet and tries to wait out the rest of her high school year, and along the way she ends up falling in love with somebody, and every part of me loves the idea of this book because it's about a queer Southern girl, and like, as a queer Southern girl, like, I'm all about this. And I think Jane and I are gonna buddy read it, which makes it all the more special to buddy read good books with your friends, so I'm very excited. The next book I'm going to mention is Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. This is a book that I honestly have read the synopsis so many times, and I still honestly don't think I could tell you what this book is about. All I know is that Melanie, who I mentioned before, raves about this series, and she says it's the most unique fantasy she's ever read, which is high praise from someone who reads as much fantasy as she does. And I know that she said that she bought like 15 copies of this for Christmas and sent it to people. So I'm very pleased to be one of those selected 15, and I have honestly wanted to read this since she first mentioned it, so I'm very excited to finally have a copy so I can see what the hell this is about. Final book I received in December came from my very good friend Beth. I'll leave her Instagram linked down below, and I'm so excited about this book, and she was so excited to get me this book, and I do believe we're gonna buddy read this one as well, and that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is another book that, like, I don't know how you could have possibly missed it this year because so many people were talking about it. So many of my friends who read fantasy said this was one of their favorite books they read this year. And again, it's an Own Voices Asian-inspired fantasy, and it just sounds like so good, and I know that there's a lot of historical meaning and accuracy in a lot of the things that take place in this novel, and I've just heard that the main character is so enjoyable to follow. This is basically about our main character, Ren, who runs away to join like a military school, and it's about like how that brings her into this great war. And if you guys don't know, I actually love military fantasies. Military fantasy is like one of my favorite subgenre of fantasies, and so like an Asian-inspired military fantasy is like so up my alley, I can't even begin to explain it. And just people have absolutely fallen in love with the main character, and you guys know I'm all here for a main character that's just absolutely incredible, so I'm so excited to read this book. And I'm very much hoping that Beth and I can buddy read it because I love buddy reading books with her. Every book I buddy read with her, I end up like 110% loving, so I feel like we've got a lucky streak going here. Alrighty guys, I know this video is kind of long because I have a lot of books to talk about, but those are all of the things I received in December. Again, I am so beyond lucky. You guys aren't even watching me anymore, are you? You're just watching the cats in the background. You don't have to lie to me, I know. They're cute. They're very adorable cats. I get it. Like I said before, I'm so thankful to have made the incredible friendships that I've made in this community, and to have people who, you know, genuinely care a lot about me as a person, and I care a lot about them, and, you know, they're just genuinely my very good friends, and I'm just so thankful, and I love you guys so much, and I love all of you. Alrighty guys, so those are all of the books I got in December. This video is long enough. I would love to know what was your favorite thing you received in December. If you like what I do, I try to upload 2 videos every week, and I'll see you guys soon with another one.